All right, so I'm ChloeJet, and I'm going to be answering a few questions. So let's get to it. Who, as a singer-songwriter, stands out for you and why? Okay, so this is a tricky one because personally I listen to lots of variations of people, but as I started to begin my writing process, I used to work with a friend called Ezria, and she was a poet. And she's not famous, you wouldn't know of her, but she's such a lovely person, and she is a singer-songwriter. And for me personally, the way she would write was so different and unique, and it made me realize that I don't like writing very simply. So the way her complex writing was made me inspired by that. So I'd have to say Ezria for that one. All right, what's the best song you have written and why? Oh, this is a hard one. Not being cocky, but this is a hard one. I do really like a lot of my songs, but I think my most interesting one being written was a most recent one called Hole in My House, which is actually a story. And it's made up completely, but I was actually walking down the street with my friend. We went on a walk, and she was like, "Oh, look, there's a hole in a house." And I was like, that is a sick line. I really like that. So I started writing to her. I kind of wanted to make like this whole movie scene out of it, but it didn't really work with a hole in a house. So I put it as a hole in my house. So basically the song is about, I live with a friend, and one day she's not in the house and I'm really confused. I walk out and there's this massive hole in my house. I was like, what is going on? And I see her, and it's kind of weird, completely made up, but it's like, she gets taken by these people and put in a van and she's gone. And I'm like, what on earth is going on? And I've been best friends with her for a while, and I'm like, this is weird. So I walk out the hole in my house, trip upon some broken glass. I wanted to cry out. That's one of the lyrics. And I was like, what's going on? So I have a phone call and I pick it up, and she's like, I've been doing bad things and I haven't told you and I'm really sorry. And then it just stops. And I'm like, I've got to figure out what's going on. I've got to go and find out. I've got to save her. So I go upstairs to her room and I find some things. And in the story, I say that I found something and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is massive. But I never say what it is because I could never think of what it could be. So I just left it as something, as the listener can pick it out as what they want it to be. But I keep getting these phone calls from her. She's really sorry. Anyways, I found at the halfway in the third verse or something, I find what it is, go downstairs, and someone ends up being here, and I'm like, oh my God, someone's in the house. They take me to, and it's like, okay, now I'm in this van, I don't know what's going on. And in the end, the chorus goes, I sat down and I heard a voice flow instead of it being over the phone. So I'm actually sitting next to her, but I can't see anything. And she says, sorry, I've done these bad things, kept a lot of secrets from you, darling. You'll never really know a person, don't trust them. See you up there with no warning. So the see you up there with no warning is that we both end up in the sky in heaven and we die. So the moral of the story is that for me, I've had quite a few trust issues back in the day, so I wrote it about where you can never really trust someone. You never know until you've known them for a really, really long time. I'd only known her for like 2 years. So it's just about trust, basically, and just be careful with what's going on because you never know. People lie and stuff like that. But it's all made up. So that was a very long story, I'm sorry. All right, so I think that's my best song written. Next, okay. What do you do to protect your songs and earn royalties from them? So I went to a college called East London Arts and Music, and we learnt a hell of a lot there. And one of the most important things is that to protect your songs when you finally release them, when you do. So I released my songs on Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, Amazon Music, everywhere. So I signed up to PRS, which is Performing Rights Society, and it's quite a difficult process, but there's video tutorials on how to do it, and you can also call up and they help you. But it's just a way of registering your song, and they link it up to where your song is out. It's very, very confusing. I don't know all the depths of it, but it is a great platform for artists to make sure that your song doesn't get copyrighted, as it's like a proper document, and I'm not very into all the admin stuff, so it was good to learn it, but definitely PRS is the one to go. So that's where I collect my royalties. And when you go through, I also signed up with someone called AWOL, and they collect it instead of PRS. So you can get PRS to do it or AWOL, but I got AWOL to do it. So it's confusing, very confusing. All right. How do the majority of fans follow you and your music? So my biggest platform that I use is definitely Instagram. I'm building up my fan base from there, especially during quarantine and COVID. It's very, you network over the internet now. So you start DMing a lot of people. It's also a way where you can sponsor your posts, so people come into your DMs from seeing sponsors' posts. So I think Instagram is probably the biggest platform for me. And that's where most of my fans see everything, and that takes them to where my music is and stuff. All right. Would you recommend training to write songs? So I think this is very different for everyone. Personally, I think if you're at a very beginner's level and you haven't written before, definitely try a course or go writing or something like that, or go to a college where they do singing, songwriting. But I think everyone's different. So for me, I hadn't done songwriting sessions with going to someone's house and just writing with them. I was very stuck in my own room doing my own things, and it's a way to break out from that one avenue that you're in. I felt I was very narrow-minded, and I always wanted to write with complex lyrics, and I was thinking, you know what, I need to open up my streets and go down somewhere else. So I started to songwrite with people that were more simple, and it opens your avenues. You're able to write for other people and do different things. So you don't necessarily have to go to a specific training course, but it's always good to break out from being embarrassed in front of writing from other people and just go and just break out from the norm, basically. But if you feel that you're really slacking and you don't know where to start, then definitely start a training course. But once you've done that, move on, and then, just feel what feels right. But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all the questions. Thanks for having me. My name is ChloeJet.